Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's been around for thousands of years, but honestly feels more important right now than ever. We're talking about mindfulness and meditation, and we're going to get past just, it helps with stress. We're going to look at how these practices are a real pathway to some deep, profound healing and a more connected life. Because that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This isn't about just putting a Band-Aid on a stressful day. It's about building this incredible set of internal tools that let you navigate your own mind, your own emotions, and truly, genuinely thrive.
All right, so let's clear this up right away, because it's a super common point of confusion. We hear these two words thrown around together all the time. Are they the same thing? Well, not exactly, but they're a perfect team. They work together beautifully.
Yeah, think of them as two sides of the very same coin. Each one helps the other, and together, they help you build this foundation of calm, clear awareness.
Okay, so let's break it down. Mindfulness. That's the state you're aiming for. It's the destination. It's that quality of being completely present, completely aware of what's happening. Meditation? That's the practice. It's the vehicle that gets you to that destination. It's like the gym workout for your attention muscle.
So what does being mindful actually feel like day to day?
It's way simpler than it sounds. It's really tasting that first sip of coffee instead of just, chugging it while you scroll through your phone. It's feeling the warmth of the sun on your face. It's actually hearing what your friend is saying instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. It's just this open, curious attention without immediately slopping a label of good or bad on everything.
And meditation, that's the training ground. It's when you deliberately carve out, say, 10 minutes to just sit and pay attention. You might focus on your breath, or sounds, or the feelings in your body. And the wild part is, the more you do this formal practice, the more you find that mindful awareness just starts showing up naturally in the rest of your day. They totally feed each other.
Okay, so now that we've got the what, let's go a little deeper. Let's talk about the how. How can these simple practices actually help us deal with really difficult emotions? How can they help us heal our own inner world?
And this is such a good question, right? Because it sounds totally counterintuitive. When you're feeling really angry or deeply sad, the idea of just sitting there and looking at it, that can feel like the last thing in the world you want to do. But this, right here, is where the magic happens.
I love this quote because it nails the change in perspective perfectly. See, normally, when a big emotion like anger hits, we do one of two things. We either get totally swept up in it, we are the storm, or we try to suppress it and push it away. Mindfulness gives you this incredible third option, to just watch it. You see the storm cloud of anger, you acknowledge it's there, but you realize you're the big open sky that the cloud is passing through. You are not the storm. And that's why it's so healing. By observing, you create space. You interrupt that downward spiral, you know the one, where an angry thought leads to a sad thought, which leads to more anger. It just stops it in its tracks. It allows the emotion to actually be felt and processed, and then to pass. You're not ignoring your feelings, you're just changing your entire relationship with them. And in that space, you start to treat yourself with a lot more kindness.
And there are even active ways to practice this, like a meditation called metta, or loving kindness. It's amazing. You just sit and systematically generate these feelings of goodwill. You start with yourself, which for a lot of us is actually the hardest part. Then you expand it out to people you love, then to neutral people, then even to people you find difficult. You're basically training your heart to respond with compassion instead of resentment.
Okay, so we've covered the feeling, the inner experience, but what is physically happening inside of us when we do this? This is where things get really, really cool, because the science on this is just astounding. And I mean that literally. This isn't a metaphor. The things you repeatedly do and think, including meditation, can physically change the wiring and the structure of your brain.
It's a concept called neuroplasticity. The key takeaway here is that your brain is not some fixed, static thing you're stuck with. It's constantly being shaped by your experiences. And when you practice meditation, you are taking an active role in that process. You are literally sculpting your own brain to be more calm, more focused, and more resilient.
And we can actually see these changes on brain scans, which is just mind-blowing. Research shows that a consistent practice can increase gray matter in areas linked to self-awareness and learning. At the same time, it can actually shrink the amygdala. That's the brain's little fear and alarm center. It becomes less reactive.
And it can improve the function of the hippocampus, which is vital for memory and emotional regulation.
And it's not just your brain, it's your whole nervous system. Think of it like this. Most of us spend our days in fight or flight mode, that stressed out, on-edge feeling. Meditation flips the switch over to the rest and digest system. It's like taking your foot off the gas and gently putting it on the brake. And these are not just vague feelings. They are real, measurable, physical effects. It lowers stress hormones like cortisol, it can slow down your heart rate, lower your blood pressure over time, and even give your immune system a boost. When you calm your mind, you're giving your body the signal that it's safe to repair, recover, and heal.
So, this brings us to the final and maybe the most profound piece of this whole puzzle. When we start to consistently quiet all that internal noise, something else starts to show up. A sense of connection, of meaning, that might have been buried before.
You've probably heard this term, the monkey mind. It's that relentless inner chatter, the worries, the planning, the replaying conversations. It just jumps from branch to branch. The whole point of these practices is to gently, kindly quiet that monkey mind. Because when you turn down the volume on all that static, you can finally start to hear the music that's playing underneath. And for some people, with deep and consistent practice, this can lead to moments of something called non-dual awareness. Now, this is a big concept, but the feeling of it is quite simple. It's a state where that constant sense of being a separate me, isolated from everything else, just softens. It dissolves. And what's left is this incredible feeling of being deeply connected to everything, a feeling of belonging.
And this deeper state opens up all these other beautiful pathways. It naturally fosters gratitude. It helps you find equanimity, which is just a wonderful sense of balance, even when life gets rocky. It can be helped along with tools like mantras, and it cultivates this powerful idea of enoughness, that feeling that you are enough and what you have is enough right now.
When you boil it all down, it's about a fundamental shift in your entire mindset. You move from a place of scarcity, always focused on what's missing, what you need to get next, to a place of abundance. Not necessarily material abundance, but an appreciation for the richness of what's already right here, in this moment.
So, after this whole journey we've been on, from the science of the brain to healing our hearts, to maybe even touching a sense of connection with the universe, it all comes back to this. One moment, one breath. That's always the starting point.
The most powerful thing about all of this is that it's always accessible. It's available to you in any moment. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What if taking just one single mindful breath right now could be the start of shifting your entire experience?